Good day. I am Sister Christy Wilson, and I bring you greetings from the Mount Nebo Missionary Baptist Church, where Dr. Larry Battles is my pastor, and I am a part of the senior Ursha team, where Sister Warner Jean Turner is my president. I am happy today to bring you a short little discussion on how the pandemic has affected worship service. The first thing I'd like to do is to define worship. Worship is to bring adoration or reverence to God. One of my favorite things is to hear my pastor say, "We come to worship an audience of one." So now that we've defined worship, the concept of corporate worship is the heart of the modern day church. For up to 52 weeks a year, pastors adorn their pulpits to bring the good news of the gospel. Up to 52 weeks a year, choirs line pews and rows and stands to sing Zion songs. Up to 52 weeks a year, deacons take their post to pray prayers, sing hymns, and read scriptures. Up to 52 weeks a year, ushers man their doors, their aisles, welcoming the church to corporate worship. So what happens when the church has to physically close her doors? Well, around March of 2020, the church had to face that very fact. What happens when we cannot come to celebrate, mourn, and rejoice at the church? Like the psalmist said in Psalms 122:1, "I was glad when they said unto me, 'Come, let us go into the house of the Lord. Our feet shall stand within thy gates, O Jerusalem.'" So what happens when you cannot go into the church? Pastor LeVar Henry of the Damascus Missionary Baptist Church says that we have three choices to make when we face a crisis. We can do nothing, we can do the same, we can do less, or we can do more. It takes no effort, of course, to do less. It takes very little effort to do the same. But the church is called to do more. So how do we react at our core when it has been shaken? Recently, an article entitled "Things Will Never Be the Same After the Pandemic: How It Has Affected Worship" by Mr. Tom Gletton. The question was posed, does the church need a building to build community? Parishioner Claire Anderson of the North Pike Church of Christ in Georgia said she felt the pandemic was God sending everyone to their room for a timeout. She said it was during this time that she was able to just take away all the business of church and focus on her relationship with God. But parishioner Mary McGrath said that during the shutdown, all she really truly desired to do was sit in a pew and be somewhere that was bigger and holier than she was. Many of us have faced both of those school of thoughts. Some of us have taken the time to just get closer and work on our own relationships, while others have longed to be in those pews. So what happens when there is a shift and there is a need for adjustment? Reverend Mark Wayne of the Oaklawn United Methodist states that a church is a network of relationships. Let me say that again, a network of relationships. It's the people, not where they meet. So what did we do and how did it affect us? One word comes to mind: resilience. Resilience is defined as the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties and toughness. I implore you that the church did what it does best. We began to show up in different and unique ways. We became no longer bound by buildings. We moved our services to parking lots. We embarked on a journey of moving churches into the technological era. Services are now being offered virtually around the world. We took Facebook, Zoom, and conference calls and began to weave a new fabric of worship as the church continued to meet the needs of its people while keeping them safe. So how have we been affected? We are a people of fellowship. So the sense of growing separation from one's church community under the pandemic condition may be the most acute for those who depended on that community for support. So we all miss those big bear hugs before and after church, those smiles, and the ability to lean over and whisper, "Girl, you sure is wearing that hat today." Dr. Andrew Newberg, a physician and neuroscientist who studies religious experiences, states that although virtual services are gratifying, they sometimes often leave something to be desired spiritually and sociologically because our brains are designed to be social. So as we continue to navigate new and different waters, we are called to be able to reach out to those who need us the most through phone calls, text chains, email, and good old United States Postal Service. We have to remind our members that they are not alone and that the church will never close. We are like Motel 6. Our light is always on. I believe one day that we will be back to full capacity in the church's beauty and bloom. But until then, we will remain resilient, continuing to think outside the box, aka the building, to meet our membership's needs. One of the greatest worship services ever recorded took place not inside of a church. Acts 16:25 states, "And at midnight Paul and Silas prayed and sang praises unto God, and the prisoners heard them. And suddenly there was a great earthquake, so that the foundation of the prison shaken, and immediately the doors were opened and everyone's hands were loosed." We are members of the church, and this pandemic has taught us to do like Brother Paul and Silas. Take every opportunity to start a worship experience. In your front yard with your neighbor, start a worship experience. At your job, between your cubicle with your coworker, start a worship experience. Maybe over the phone with some mission sisters, some good singing and some good praising. Start a worship experience. Or through a text chain testifying about the goodness of God. Start a worship experience. Truly, the heart of the church is in the heart of its people, and the people are resilient. So I challenge us as we continue to open our doors back slowly and carefully and safely, that we always remember to be ready, to be flexible, to be unique, and to meet the needs of our people, because truly we are resilient and the heart of the church is in its people. Thank you and have an amazing and blessed day.